Hello and welcome to this session. Today, we will see how to enter the details in Form 4, which is Facility-Based Maternal Death Reporting Form in the Facility Login. The form is available in Facility Level Logins, and we will log in through a Facility Login detail at the facility level. The moment a facility officer logs in, he or she can see that there is an MDSR menu on the top left corner of the screen that contains this Form 4 applicable to the maternal death reviews. We will click on this option and the form will just open up. It will show the line list of all the cases which have been entered in the notification form, and all those cases will be displayed in this table. In this table, the second last column on the right side is Action column, which has two different options. One is a plus sign, which means that Form 4 details are not added for this record and we need to add the same. Another option is a pen icon, which means that Form 4 details already exist for the record and we can modify these details by clicking on the Edit button. So now we will see that how to add details for a Form 4 line list data. We have these dummy records and we will click 1+ sign to go ahead. As we open up its detail, we can notice that the Form 4 has been divided into different sections. The first section is General Information, then comes Patient's History, then Admission, then Condition on Admission, then Diagnosis, followed by Interventions, and finally Others. So, all these informations needs to be filled in. We will do section by section data entry. The important thing to remember here that if we have entered the details in one section, saved and moved to another section, and we have lost our internet connection or the computer shuts down in between, then we have to come back and complete the remaining part of the form anytime. The tabs or sections for which we have already saved the data will remain intact. So, in General Information, we will see some primary information related to the state, district, block name, mobile number, address, etc. All these details will come automatically from Form 1. We have to fill in all the information fields which have a red asterisk mark because these are the mandatory fields. Then, we need to fill up the information for background information of the deceased mother. Again, some fields will come automatically filled based on the information accessed from the Form 1. A few further questions are for the education status and below poverty line status. We can put that information also and click on Save and Next button on the bottom right corner on the screen. This will take us to the next section, which is the Patient History section. In the patient history, we need to put in the date and time of admission. So, date and time of admission should be less than or equal to the date and time of death. Date and time of death will come automatically. Date and time of delivery needs to be keyed in. We can also change the timeline. Going further, there are some fields for duration of hospital stay, duration of ICU stay, admission delivery interval, admission to death interval, etc. So we need to put in all this information into their respective boxes. And then comes the outcome of pregnancy, whether it was abortion, ectopic or live birth. So all this information needs to be registered. Once we have done this, we can click on Save and Next, and it will take us to the next section, which is On Admission section. In the On Admission section, we have to fill in the respective fields like complaints at the time of admission, then obstetric formula, number of children alive, etc. So, in case you have only the total count of the children, you can select on this particular option. Then, it will only ask for total count, and if you have split up information also, then you can fill in the same. We need to select this period of gestation and then click on Save and Next. It will take us to the next section, which is Condition on Admission. In Condition on Admission section, the first information is about the conditions on admission, which has 5 different options and we need to select one. Then there is another section which is referred from outside. If the patient was referred to this facility from some other facility or some other place, then we need to select it as yes, and if we select yes, a referral form will open up and we need to put in all the details related to the referral. If the patient was not referred and it has arrived on the facility directly, then we need to select no, and these fields will not appear. So this is the only information required in section 4. We can now click on Save and Next and move on to the next section, which is the Diagnosis section. In the Diagnosis section, you can see there are questions related to different diagnoses. Now, most of these questions will have dependent questions. So please select the options carefully. For example, if we select hemorrhage, then it will ask for further options of types of hemorrhage which has happened. So we can select one or more than one option. C. When we have selected antepartum bleeding, it is further asking us more questions. So all these dependable questions will come up based on what type of hemorrhage selection we have done. So we need to select other options also related to this and move further. Now this part of diagnosis is complete. Below this, there are further sections also. There is one section which is for abortion. It is to be filled if it is applicable. Again, there are few more questions. It might ask us some more depending questions. So we need to fill and select whatever is applicable. And then it is done. Now we can move on to the third section, which is antenatal care. In the antenatal care section, again it is being asked that did she receive the ANC? If we select no or don't know, then nothing will come up. But if she has received ANC and we click yes, it will then ask further details also. So we need to complete these details and move forward. The final set of details are related to delivery, puerperium and neonatal information. Did she have labor pains? Yes or no? All these information related to the disease has to be selected. Again, there might be some dependable questions which will come up. So whatever is applicable, we need to select it and then submit the information. So here we will click on Save and then Next. This section will get submitted and we will be taken to the 6th section, which is Interventions. In Interventions, there is a table where we have these different rows. So the option on the left side is depicted like early pregnancy, antenatal, intrapartum, postpartum, anesthesia, blood transfusion, or any transfusion reaction occurred. Now in front of these, there are multiple options. We need to select one for each row and then move forward. So we can select any options which are applicable and then click on Save and Next. When we click on Save and Next, it takes us to the last section, which is the 7th section, which means Other. Here in the first field is primary diagnosis or conditions leading to death. This is an open text field and we can put in as much information as we want to. Further, there are direct cause of death and indirect cause of death. These have 3 levels of information. First, one is group name, then category and further categorization of the same. For this, we need to select the first group name. Then the categories will come, and if there is any further subcategory, that will also come up. Please remember that all these group names and category names are as per the ICD-10 classifications, and therefore this information needs to be selected. Similarly, we will select this information for indirect cause of death. Further, there are questions related to antecedent because wherein again we have 3 different text fields and we have to put in the information which we want to. Moving further down to the form, there is one section which says, in your opinion, were any of these factors present. There are multiple of questions over there and all these questions are yes, no, and not known options. So, we can select whichever option or answers we have. In case we do not have an answer, we can click on Not Known. But if we have the answer, then click on Yes or No and then submit the information. Finally, it asks us whether the autopsy was performed or not performed. Doctor's name, date, registration, number if it is available, and the case summary. Now, case summary again is open text field which we can type in as much information as we want. We can also format this information before saving. So all this can be done. This is what we require in this last section, which is the other section. When we have filled up all the information, we will click on Save and Next, and the form will be submitted. So now, Form 4 for Facility-Based Maternal Death Review has been successfully submitted. As told earlier, that if we click on the pen icon, we can edit the information. So to edit any information, we can click on the pen icon. It will open up the Form 4 in an editable mode. We can change any information which we want and then save it again. So this way, we can save it, as we wanted to do only one small correction in one section. So now, we can move on to the last section and then finally click on Save. The record is now saved. This is how we enter data in Form 4, which is the Facility-Based Maternal Death Review form. And it is available in the Facility-Based login. That's all for this session. Thank you very much for watching this video.